Hello everyone. In the last video, we have discussed the source structure method of string ADT main. In this video, we are going to explore the rest of the methods. So we are starting with this less than method. This method will return a boolean value if the by comparing the two argument string, the left string and the right string. This less than method will tell us whether the left string is smaller than the right string. Here we use the term smaller means the left string is coming before the right string in alphabetical order. For this less than method we are using a compare to method of a string class. So the string class compare to method will say left string dot compare to and another string, then this string, the argument string, will become here we are using the compare to method. This compare to method will return a negative or a 0 or a positive value depending on the whether the calling string is coming alphabetically before the argument string. Here the calling string is left string. If it comes alphabetically before the right string, then we'll got a negative value. If the left string and the right string are similar, then we will get 0. If the left string is coming after the right string in alphabetical order, then we'll get a positive value. What this compare to method do is it will compare both the string character by character, and where it founds the difference in the character, it will return the difference in the ASCII value of those two characters. So what we did in our implementation, we have declared as we know the return type is boolean, so we'll have a boolean response which is by default is getting a false, which is initialized by a false value. And what we did next is we have declared an integer value result. This result we will use as a condition to reset the response variable. In result we have got the result from this compare to method, whether the string is coming before the argument string or not. So like as the method is less than, so we have to only check whether the calling string is smaller than the argument string. So what we have did, we have analyzed if the result is less than 0, any value less than 0 is a negative value, then what we are doing, we are reinitializing, what we are overwriting the value of response which is earlier false to true, and what we are doing, we are returning the response. So whenever we'll got to a string and the left string, if left string is less than smaller than the right string, then this method will return true. If the left string is coming after the right string, this method will return false. And now we'll move to our next method, which is greater than. The greater than method has the same signature as the less than method, same return type, and in this greater than method we are going to analyze whether in this greater than method we are going to analyze whether the left string is coming after the right string in alphabetical order. We again use the Compareto method of a string class. The calling object, if the calling object is coming after the argument object, then the Compareto method will return a positive value. If the calling object is coming before the alphabetically before the argument object, then this Compareto method will return a negative value. If the calling object and the argument object are similar, then it will return 0. So in this case, in the greater than method, we'll have the return type is boolean, so we have created a response variable. Anyone calls the function will get the response and initialize it with the default value false. Then we have declared a result which will hold the result of comparison. If the result is greater than 0, then we'll override the value of response to true, and then we'll return the response. So if the calling method, if the left string is coming after the right string in alphabetical order, then we'll get true. If the left string is coming before the right string in the alphabetical order, then this method will return false. Now we are going to analyze the next method, which is star count. This method is also public. Its return type is an integer value. The argument are an input string and a character. String character count. We have to count this character in the given input string. So here our project has a compulsion that we have to use index of method for counting the characters. Index of method from the string class. This index of method from the string class. It's compulsion that we have to use this method. We cannot directly count the character by comparing it with every index value. So now what we have to do here, we have to use the overloaded form of the index of, which is index of character int from index. So from the last index we'll have to count again, and every time when we'll get the same character, we'll increase the count. A count is our counter variable, because in this method we have to count number of occurrence. So again, what we did, the return type is integer, so we have created an integer response and initializes with the default value, which is 0 for integer. Then we again declare an integer counter and initializes with the default value, and then we'll give an index, beginning index, and we initialize it with -1 because whenever we'll do the search, we can search this from the index. So what we did, we have started a do while, because we don't know whether we are going to get the first string or not. If this index of method will return an integer value which is equivalent to the index, if we are not getting the index of that value, this method, that character is not present in the string, then we will get the return -1. That's why we have initialized this beginning index with the -1, and we'll do what we do, we started a do while loop, and here what we'll do, we have reinitializing, overriding the value of beginning index, because every time we want this index to be used for the next index, for counting the or checking the character for the next occurrence. That's why, like, for example, we'll have screen input string equals to screen record like this, and we are looking for a character R. Now this screen record will represent it like an array like this, and the index of R is 2, 6 and 10, and the total char count is 3. And after the 10th index, we will get -1. Now coming back to our project, what we are doing, we are looking at input index of the character from the beginning index. Here what we are doing, we are adding 1 in the beginning index, because our index is always starts with a 0, and what we have initialized index with -1. So we'll get the very first index from the example. From the example we'll get 2, and this is updated to the beginning index, and when we'll got the index, the counter will become 1, and we'll check whether the beginning index is equal to not equal to -1. Then we'll have to again repeat this step. Again beginning index, input string dot index of from looking for the character r from the index beginning index plus 1. Now the beginning index is for the last time it's 2, now it's become 3. From 3 we'll have to look for the indexes again, and then we'll get 6. We'll increase the counter, then we'll get 10, then we'll increase the counter. In the last case, what happens, we'll get a -1, but still our counter will increase. Because we are getting -1, our loop will discontinue, but our counter will increase. So that's why what we are doing, we are overriding the value of response, which is earlier 0, to count -1, and then returning the response. So what we'll get the total number of character count. Now we'll move to the next function, which is find substring. In this function we have to find the substring. A test string will be coming, and we have to give the substring from the starting index to the count. Like here what we'll do, we'll create a substring. Here what we'll do, we'll create a substring. Like if we'll do example, we have to create the substring from this screen record. The test string will be screen record, and we want substring starting at 7th index and total number of count 3. So we will use the string class method substring, which is also an overloaded method, and we'll give int big beginning index int and index. Likewise we'll use test string dot substring start and end, but this end index is not given to us. We'll got the count. To calculate the end index, what we'll do, we just add the start and the count, so we'll get the end index. And here we'll also has to check whether the end index is not beyond the total length of the string. If any index we try to access which is beyond the total length of the string, then it will create array index bound out of bound exception, and we do not want that exception. So Here our response will return get the substring, and that substring is returned through the response. Thank you.